Reigning MotoGP world champion Marc Marquez is already staring down one of the biggest decisions of his career: where to race in 2027 when MotoGP brings in a major new set of technical regulations. The idea of going back home to Honda, the brand that made him a legend, is floating around the paddock. But for Marquez, at least for now, it's still more fantasy than reality. It's more theory than practice, he admitted at a recent Estrella Galicia event. For most fans, Marc Marquez is Honda. He stepped up to MotoGP with the Japanese giant in 2013, immediately shook up the championship, and went on a historic run: 6 Premier Class titles in 7 years, up through 2019.
Welcome to GP Time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.
His ultra-aggressive style, insane saves, and fearless corner entries became part of MotoGP culture. But after his massive arm injury and Honda's struggles to build a competitive bike, the fairy tale turned into a grind. Marquez spent more and more time riding over the limit, trying to make up for what the bike couldn't give him. The magic faded, replaced by crashes, surgeries, and frustration. By the end of 2023, he made the call nobody ever thought he would. He walked away from Honda. When he signed with Gresini Racing for 2024 on a year-old Ducati, it felt like a full-on gamble. No factory seat. No guaranteed title bike. Just a chance to reset his career. And it worked. Marquez won 3 races in 2024 and proved he still had the speed and racecraft to fight at the front. That comeback run opened the door to something even bigger: a promotion to the factory Ducati team for 2025. On the red bike, he didn't just do well, he dominated. Marquez closed out 2025 as MotoGP world champion again, lifting his 7th Premier Class crown and confirming that, yes, the king was still the king. He's now under contract with Ducati until the end of 2026. After that, everything is up in the air. When Marquez left, Honda hit rock bottom. Results dried up, confidence dipped, and the brand that once ruled MotoGP suddenly looked lost. But concessions, special rules that give struggling manufacturers more freedom to develop, helped Honda rebuild. Slowly but surely, they started to look dangerous again. By 2025, Honda had won a wet Grand Prix, scored 3 podiums in dry races, climbed up the concessions rankings for 2026. They're not back to the absolute top yet, but they're no longer just making up the numbers. That's why, when people talk about the 2027 rider market, Honda's name is back in the mix. And naturally, so is the idea of a Marquez-Honda reunion. At the Estrella Galicia event, Marquez, who missed the last 5 rounds of 2025 due to injury, was asked directly about a possible Honda return in 2027. His answer was honest and very human. "I'm not going to make any decisions while I'm injured, or without being on the bike. It's important, unless I see it very, very clearly." Then he added the line that really tells you where his head is at. "I'm in a great moment, I'm back on top, and it's time to make the right decisions, being selfish, thinking about myself." This is where the emotional side of MotoGP collides with the cold reality of elite sport. Yes, there's loyalty. Yes, there's history. But Marquez has already sacrificed his body and his career window once. He doesn't sound like someone ready to gamble it all again just for sentiment. The big wild card in all of this is 2027. MotoGP will overhaul its technical rules that year, and that kind of reset can shuffle the entire power ranking of the grid. Marquez knows that better than anyone. In 2027, nobody can guarantee you the best bike. When it's tested, everything will be finalized. You'll have to trust your instincts. It will be a year where everything is open. You have to manage it in the best way possible. In other words, 2027 is a poker game. Ducati, Honda, and every other manufacturer are all building their own secret weapon for the new era. But until the bikes hit the track, it's all projection and hope. That's why his next contract isn't just about money or logos, it's about betting on the right project at the right time. From a storytelling point of view, Marquez going back to Honda is perfect. The kid who became a legend with them, the painful breakup, the redemption arc at Ducati, the emotional homecoming to finish the story. Fans love that kind of narrative. It feels cinematic. But from Marquez's point of view, it's more complicated. He doesn't want to return to a project just because it feels right. It has to be right. Honda has improved, no doubt. But Ducati is the bike that helped him reclaim his crown. Both sides will likely fight hard to keep or sign him for the 2027 era. There's another twist. Most of the MotoGP grid will be out of contract or renegotiating around 2027. Combine that with brand new rules, and you get one of the most chaotic, high-stakes rider markets in recent memory. For a rider like Marquez, 2027 isn't just another contract. It could define the final chapter of his career. Does he chase more titles with the manufacturer that currently rules the roost, Ducati? Does he trust Honda's progress and try to lead their new era? Or does some other dark horse manufacturer step up with a crazy strong 2027 package? In a year like that, being selfish doesn't sound cold, it sounds smart. If we strip it down to the core, Marquez isn't ruling out a Honda comeback, but he's clearly not close to saying yes. Either he refuses to decide anything while he's injured, he wants to see bikes, projects, and future plans before committing, and above all, he's putting his own career and body first this time. Right now, a 2027 return to Honda is something between a rumor, a dream, and a maybe. The door isn't shut, but it's definitely not wide open yet. For now, Marc Marquez is exactly where he wants to be, back on top of the world, holding all the cards, and ready to play them for himself, not just for nostalgia. Ducati course general manager Gigi D'Allegna has heaped praise on Marc Marquez following the Spaniard's triumph in the 2025 MotoGP World Championship. It's been almost 2 months since Marc Marquez clinched his 9th world title, 7th in MotoGP, at the Japanese Grand Prix, but only a couple of weeks since the end of yet another season which saw Ducati on the podium in every Grand Prix, a streak which now stands at 88 races, even despite the absence of Marquez in the final 5 rounds. Marquez's title triumph was one of the most dominant in the history of the championship, winning 11 Grands Prix and 14 sprints from the 17 of each he started, and ending the season with a 78-point margin over the field despite missing those last 5 races. For a Ducati rider, it was also a season of firsts, something D'Allegna was keen to point out in a post-season statement in which he praised Marquez for his combination of youthful hunger for success and experience of a veteran. Marquez is the first Ducati rider to put together 15 consecutive victories between sprint and GP, the first to get on the podium for 11 races in a row and the first to end the season with over 10 victories in both the sprint and the GP, said D'Allegna. But what is equally important, even more, is that his return, his getting back into the game initially in a satellite team, his stubbornness and his enthusiasm are the figure of an ambition that is not economic, but that of a champion who wanted to rediscover the sensations lost in the odyssey of recent years. The light in his eyes is the sign of a human adventure before being a sporting one, lived with the humility of a rider who always has to learn. The desire of a rookie and the experience of a veteran. It is an example for everyone and an honor for the factory team to have him with them.